What if you stepped into becoming the VIP of your life this year and took actions, big and small, or made decisions based on that energy of becoming the VIP of your life this year? That's what we're going to talk about in this week's episode. And it was inspired by my recent experience of looking at getting concert tickets. And so that got me reflecting on how I have stepped into that energy this past year and thinking about ways that I could continue to up level that moving into next year, the next year, 2025. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the Rockstar Manifestors podcast, where you will learn how to manifest like the rock star you are. We don't do safe, we don't do someday, and we definitely don't do ordinary here. I'm Patty, your host, coach, and rock and rebel witch with a vision, here to guide you from making your vision board to living it by breaking the mold and living the life you choose, even if you don't yet know exactly what that looks like. If you're ready to manifest your dreams, step into your power, and embody those rock star vibes, you're in the right place. Let's crank it up and get going. Rebel Rockstar Manifestors. What if every decision you made, big and small, reflected the version of you who already knows you deserve the VIP treatment all the time? That's what we're getting into this week. And as you are seeing this, it is now New Year's. I'm recording this on December 31st, and it's New Year's in parts of the world. But by the time this gets up, it's going to be New Year's Day everywhere. So happy New Year, happy 2025. And wow, here we are, a whole new year, and it's going to be a wild ride, an amazing wild ride, I'm sure. So the concept of becoming the VIP of your life, I thought was a great topic to kick off the first podcast of the year, of this 2025 year. And I'm going to share ways with you of how to do that in big ways and small ways, and help you identify maybe some resistances and share my experience with you, because I am on this journey as well. And this topic of becoming the VIP of your life, was definitely inspired by a recent experience, if you will, or just a recent event happening, instance, circumstance, where I was looking at getting concert tickets. And so I was looking at the VIP option of the concert tickets and decided that I am no longer a general admission type of energy. Even if I do get general admission, I decided that I am no longer in that energy. And I will get into talking about what that means and what that looks like as we go along. So when you hear becoming and acting as and taking action and making decisions as the VIP of your life, does that feel like it's something really big? You know, like taking big steps and really audacious steps. And that is true. That can be part of it. But I also really want to point out in this episode that what I'm focusing on are the small day-to-day decisions, the small steps that you can take on an everyday basis at regular events, regular happenings and occurrences in your life, and how those combined start to add up and start to make this the new normal for you, and also make it the new normal to continually be doing that, right? So not just one up leveling to VIP, but continually up leveling to VIP. And that can look like choosing quantity. No, I'm sorry, I'm saying that backwards. That can look like choosing quality over quantity in everyday items. So that's the first thing I'm going to share with you, choosing quality over quantity. And if you've been around, you may have heard me say this before, but this really is my favorite example and how I kind of started this process by buying yourself better quality undies, right? Instead of whatever level price point you are currently getting or that you currently have, why not get at bare minimum one pair, if not like a package or a couple few pairs of nicer quality, likely a little bit higher price point, but nothing that's going to break the bank, right? Because there are price ranges to the extremes in everything that we can get, right? There's like the very low to the very extreme and all the all the price points in between. So just look at something a level or two better quality, um nicer, prettier, whatever, you want to focus on, and think about doing that. Get a pair or two, and then as the ones you have currently start being time to get rid of them, then you start doing replacing them with the higher, better quality, prettier, whatever pairs. So that way you don't have to do it all at once. You do it bit by bit. And that is a fun, very personal way because then you know what you have on, right? No one else necessarily has to, but you know what you have on. You can see probably, I'm guessing you'll be able to see the difference in kind of how you feel from the newer pair to the ones you already have. And you will start wanting to experience that and make that your new normal. So you can also do that with things like bed sheets or slippers, anything at all that you currently use in your day to day experience. Try going up a level or a nicer level or a little bit higher price point, whatever the exact circumstances. It's hard to kind of get everything encompassed in a short episode or in an episode like this, but I hope you get the idea that just look at your everyday, day to day things and see how you can choose the next level up, make a little bit higher quality choice. This also looks like maybe preparing a meal or two at home instead of going to fast food or through the drive-through. And if that's something that is challenging for you, maybe you can look at the meal services or the food delivery services or even groceries that can be delivered to your house instead of having to take the time to get the groceries or the food if that's something that isn't easy for you. And that brings me to a quick little reminder that this isn't necessarily going to be oh, smooth sailing. It's a process because it's learning and practicing a new way of being that is not currently normal for you. So there will be some discomfort, there will be some getting used to periods. And I'm going to talk a bit about that at the end as well. But just know that it probably won't feel comfortable. And it's not going to come easy simply because you're trying it, especially when you're trying it for the first time or two, right? You can also up level or realize that you deserve the VIP experience in your relationships, whether that's friends, family, partners, romantic relationships, that if they give you the treatment, the VIP treatment, like taking your time into consideration, doing what they say they're going to, taking the time to check in on you, just making you feel like you're a part of their life on whatever level that is. And also in your career, I'm sorry, combining the two, career and work. Whatever work that is, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or parent, whether you work from home, whether you work in an office, whatever you do, whether you're a barista, whatever the job that you have is, whatever your work is, and stay-at-home parents I definitely consider that work. I don't have kids, but I know enough people and am related to enough people to know that that is definitely work. So up leveling and looking at your routines, looking at your interactions with people, and knowing and stepping into this energy that you deserve respect, quality, you're worthy of people's time. And if they're not going to make time for you, then that is them telling you something, right? They are showing you who they are or how they feel and simply taking note. It doesn't mean cutting everything or everybody off at once. Taking note and paying attention is really a great ground level step because then you start to have that awareness. It's like, oh, I just took this for granted, or I just let this slide for so long, and it really doesn't make me feel good. And that is one of the best gauges of of that, one of the best gauges to go by is if the way you're being treated makes you feel good or it doesn't make you feel good. And don't confuse the fact that you're used to something, you're used to someone treating you a certain way as feeling good. Comfortable, being comfortable and familiar with how someone treats you is not always the same as feeling good about it. So, this is a good time also why I'm bringing this up or why I chose to do this episode here because a lot of us might be looking at making New Year's resolutions, New Year's intentions, setting New Year's goals. I personally do not set resolutions. I do set New Year's intentions and then make goals of actions that will make me feel that way. And I will be talking about this more because it's a main concept. And I have other episodes in the past about setting intentions based on how you want to feel and then taking actions to make you feel that way or to do things that make you feel that way. So right now, at the beginning of the year. And if you're listening to or watching this in the future, whenever you happen to be hearing this, there is always an opportunity for a new beginning. It's a new day, a new month. There are multiple new year opportunities to celebrate throughout the actual calendar year. So, this is a good time to maybe think about that and how you can implement that into your life. And so, the best way to start if this is a brand new concept for you, the way that I have found most beneficial is to start small. Like I talked about with the undies or getting the food, better quality food, something small that is already a part of your life. Trying to incorporate new things or kind of up level to things that you're not currently incorporating in your life can be a little bit more challenging, but hey, if you want to try it, you do you. I do recommend at least also incorporating a small step that you can do or that you can um, start small and build on because really that really does gain you a lot more momentum and it makes it easier to stay consistent because if it so happens that you fall off or you kind of go back into old patterns, it's easier to jump back in when it's a small thing that you can be like, okay, I'm just going to jump back in or do it again or, you know, restart or refresh. So you might want to create a list of things that you want to upgrade or step into that VIP energy throughout the year. Maybe you can list one per month or break it down by quarters or depending on what happens like if you have seasons of your life like times of the year that you go on vacation, times of the year where you're shopping for things, you can look at those times of the year now or whenever and plan for it. Say, okay, this time of year I'm going to work on up leveling and stepping into the VIP energy for school clothes or for work clothes or for vacation planning or for excursions or things that I'm going to buy for my vacations or for these things. So you can plan ahead and see how you can start incorporating or work on different things throughout the year. And if you're someone that is a someone who set intentions with the new moon, this is a fabulous way because you can look through the new moons of the year and maybe include that in the actions that you're taking to help you feel the way that you want to feel. So, um, let's see. I think I'm looking at my notes. If you're watching this on a video, that's what I'm doing. And so, oh, yes, I do have some personal examples to show you because, like I said, I am also someone who has been on this journey and who is now really looking at bumping it up to another level. And one of the things that I now incorporate in my life, and this is not recent, this is something I started several years ago, but it is only having cups and mugs and glasses and things that I love. So none of my mugs and glasses match. They are never a match set. They are things that I love for certain reasons. My two most recent purchases, or actually one was a purchase and one was a gift. My two most recent mugs and cups. that make me happy are a mug that I bought at the town where my sister got married in November. It was a town a few hours away from Los Angeles, and so a little bit of a destination wedding. And so I bought a mug as we were leaving to commemorate that and remember that that is where we were and where we went when, for her wedding. And the other one was a gift I got for Christmas from my sister-in-law, and we each got to pick our own mug and cup at our siblings Christmas get together. And so there was a variety of mugs. And so I picked one that was, very nice and very she did well, making the varieties available to people. So I'm not going to go off on that tangent because that's a whole nother fun story. But just looking at the things like the cups in your life. I had this conversation with a friend recently who works in the education system. And she was saying how, as an educator, she gets gifts from the kids. And so she got several mugs as expected. And so there was one that was, I don't remember if she said it was handmade or if it was just a different, different quality, a higher quality. And so she decided that the VIP choice would be to keep that mug and then either repurpose the other mugs for something else like other uses or regift them, down the line or pass them on to someone else. So looking at those everyday moments that you can choose to make the VIP choice. What would be the VIP choice in this circumstance? And that definitely does not have to mean extravagance. Those examples I just gave you with the cups and the undies and things along those lines might be a little bit higher price point, but that doesn't mean extravagance and indulgence. But I'm going to bet that those are the choices that make you feel better. Like every single mug I have, I love for a specific reason, whether it's the design, whether it's the color, whatever it is. And so I enjoy every single mug instead of just like a match set from a dish set or something along those lines. I enjoy every single mug. So even in that moment of choosing that mug or, getting, oh, this is a good mug for tea or this is a good mug for coffee or something along those lines, there's always at least a moment of, I love this mug or this is perfect. And so everyday decisions contribute to that. Other examples, I did share with you the clothing and undies and things along those lines and preparing meals. Okay, so I skipped ahead earlier. And so now I'm caught back up. And so what this does, these small upgrades, what they do is they reinforce and establish, especially if you don't have that right now, they establish and reinforce a sense of worthiness. Because if you think about it, sometimes the reasons that we're not making these choices already is because we don't feel worthy of the choices, right? We don't deserve it, or it's not the right time, or why would I, do this instead of that? I'll talk a bit about it too, but I can make do with this, right? So it starts to establish, reinforce, and really solidify a sense of self-worthiness. My goodness, words are hard for this episode. So, and I mentioned it already, but a great way to do this and to start practicing this in your life is when you are at these choice making opportunities at the grocery store, going out to eat for fast food versus making something quick at home. The question to keep in mind and to ask yourself is, what is the VIP option? Which is the VIP choice? And hopefully, by starting to incorporate this question into your daily life, you will start to see the opportunities are everywhere when you realize it's a choice to change a habit, or it's, if you're doing something because it's just the way it's been done for a while or because it's the most convenient or whatever the case is, you can start to disrupt that by asking yourself that simple question: which is the VIP option or the VIP choice? And so that's how you can incorporate it into all aspects of your life. I gave you examples about relationships, household products, career, but really there's so many more aspects of our life than those things. And the simple question can be applied to all of them. So I did, I do also want to talk a little bit about resistance and how prioritizing ourselves is very often not comfortable at first because we have become accustomed, maybe conditioned or expected to putting everyone else first, to making other people comfortable at the expense or the cost of our comfort, or not aligning with our values or our decisions or our desires. And so that has become very, very commonplace to prioritize other people's comfort, other people's desires, just doing things for other people and not putting ourselves first. So, with that being said, there will be resistance and discomfort because when you start doing this, because it goes against what you are currently accustomed to. And so, um, this can come from cultural, this can come from societal, this could just come from familial, habitual thought patterns, habitual practices, or just things that you do in your life. And a lot of times, at least I shouldn't know, I don't know if it's a lot of times, but speaking for myself, this just comes, it wasn't that I was ever told these things, but it was exemplified, or I was told in the way of things of how I was expected to act, or how I was expected to speak, or how I was expected to behave in certain areas. So I was never told put others first and don't put yourself first, but I was taught by life experiences, life lessons, and being told that being loud or that being inconvenient was not a good thing, and actually it is a good thing. So and there could be, again, lots of things, cultural messages, societal messages, resistances that comes from. So knowing, again, how it's going to establish this sense of self-worthiness, and knowing, even though it doesn't feel right at first, that it is not selfish in a negative way. There is definitely the selfishness that is self-absorption and what is the word I'm looking for? It might come to me, it might not. But selfishness as in taking care of yourself and making yourself the priority, again, and you've heard this, so that then you can be there for other people by taking care of yourself, by filling your cup, by putting yourself first. You are then more able and more I guess, yeah, able, or you just, it's easier to take care of and do things for and with other people when you're not trying to pull from an empty cup. And of course that's something we've all heard in one way or another, but it's still hard when we actually go to put it into practice. We might know it logically, but it's hard to put into practice. So, upgrading small aspects of your life isn't, again, about excess, but it's about aligning yourself with self-worthiness and self prioritization, if that is correct. So, um you can start to look at these small choices as investments in yourself, as an investment in future you, and getting to that point where this is a normal way of thinking and a normal way of acting for yourself. And it's for your well being, really, your mental well being, your physical well being, spiritual well being. Relationship well being, right? Because if you can be good to yourself and um treat yourself as because you are in a relationship with yourself. The relationship we have with ourselves is the longest relationship we all have. It's the only one that is truly lifelong. And so by being in a healthy relationship with yourself, you can then be much more easily in healthy relationships and interactions with other people. So a mug is not just a mug. In my example, it is an investment um in feeling special, in uplifting yourself and prioritizing yourself. So, of course, also by doing that, you will be setting an example for other people, be it your family, coworkers, just people that you come across and they feel that from you. They see you're acting that way and that you're embodying and living life this way. Even if you never even really come into contact with them for a long period of time, it can make an impact and it can leave an impression and help someone maybe decide to do that for themselves as well. So, when you feel good about yourself, this is also something that I thought was very important. When you feel good about yourself, you're more present, you're more patient, and you're confident in your actions and in your relationships and in your responsibilities. So treating yourself well is, I mean, there's so many arms and tendrils that it affects in a positive way. So when you notice these moments of resistance, like, oh, I don't need to do that, oh, I'm not deserving of that, there's good your personal negative self-talk or mind gremlins is going to be unique to you, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And so when you notice that, ask yourself a question or make a mental note or jot it down. Maybe you can journal about it later. Who told me I have to settle? Or what do I gain by always putting myself last or putting others first, whichever phrasing feels better. And I want to let you know that my phrasing, like my learned or developed way of thinking, is that I could make do. It's like I can make do with what I have. I don't need that next level because this is just fine. I can make do with that. And that affected all the decisions I made and all the things I did. And I felt bad about wanting things that were of better quality or better experiences or things that seemed indulgent. And it came from this, oh, I can make do with this. It's not the best. And maybe I struggle a little bit, but there's people that are worse off than me, or I've been worse off in the past. And so I'm here at this level now, and I should just be fine. I should be happy with that and make do with that. So that is my phrasing that I identified I can make do with. And really, in my life, what that equals, like if I were to write that out, I can make do with equals settling. And settling never feels good, right? Yes, there's moments where we have to do what we need to so we can do what we want kind of thing, but not on a permanent and ongoing basis. So you can just ask yourself those questions, start to notice what those stories are and where they come from, and you can also create affirmations along the way to help you get past the challenging parts, knowing that it will feel a little bit uncomfortable. An example is I am worthy of good things, or prioritizing myself helps me show up fully for my life. Again, if you can personalize it or really speak to whatever your mind gremlin or limiting belief is, it will be more powerful. But statements or affirmations along those lines are a great place to start. And you will start to identify where you can personalize it as you continue noticing the stories, noticing the statements that come up. And one of the things that might come up is guilt, right? I feel guilty for wanting nicer things. I have felt guilty for wanting nicer things. And again, it's because of that make do thinking and belief system or belief structure that I developed, that I have from whatever sources that I did. So guilt may come up. And that's why I want to remind you that it's okay to feel uncomfortable and still do the thing. It's okay to feel guilty and still prioritize yourself. That's really the process of getting past it. Because if we always get to that point where we feel guilty or we feel uncomfortable and then go back to what was normal before, we're not growing. We're not getting past that. And again, cliche because it's true, the only way to the other side is through, right? The only way to get to where you want is going through the discomfort, going through the guilt, and you will start to notice that it diminishes the more you do it. And then we'll get to another level where we're going to up level again. And those same feelings and those same thoughts will come back around. But we're developing this muscle of like, I recognize this and I know that I can get past it because I have done it before. The first time of working through these things is the hardest, but it's not going to be the only time that we have to do it in our lives. So, I did want to share, I think that's about almost all that I have. So, okay, yes. This example that inspired this episode, I did want to just touch on it because it's very um and actually, there's a couple of examples that I jotted down of recently, in my life where I have up leveled and it did feel uncomfortable, but I definitely see this as an investment in myself and how I am changing what my new normal is going to be. And so the first one actually was back when we were going to my sister's wedding. And when I was making the hotel reservations, I guess my initial I don't know, habit or where I started to look for hotel reservations was like the economy type, lodgings or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't need to do that. That's just that make do attitude. So I found a hotel that was a bump up, but I could easily do it, but I was not used to doing it and to investing in that way. So it was for me and my dad, and we got this really cute little hotel room, and it had like the rooms had a little fireplace, and it was right across the street from the ocean, and it was beautiful, and it was a wonderful experience. And everything was comfy and cozy, and we had a great time there and at the wedding. So it does feel uncomfortable, but you'll start to realize I'm just doing this because it's habit. I'm now at a point, even if it stretches me a little bit, where I can actually go a step up. And if you're not there yet, just be aware that keeping this VIP and which is the VIP choice will get you there. Starting with the cups and the, the undies will move you up the ladder to where you're investing a little bit more in things that you haven't before, like hotel rooms or dinners or restaurants or vacation or whatever. It's that stair step, starting small and building your way up to that. So, and then the concert one was again default. And I'm not bashing general admission. Again, I might get general admission concert tickets, but it's the mindset. It's like I'm going in there with this energy. And I was looking at the VIP pricing for the concert. The one I was looking at, unfortunately, I will not be able to go to because I'll be out of town when that's happening. So I'm glad I realized that. But just start looking at the options. And if it's really something that you're not able to do yet, just keep looking at those options. And the more you looking at it will become more regular for you. The day-to-day choices and the actions that you take and setting intentions and, manifesting me, like becoming this rock star version of you starts to build on itself. So, let's see. Yes, start small to build confidence and normalize prioritizing yourself. So I'll say that again. Start small to normalize prioritizing yourself and making yourself the VIP. To normalize prioritizing yourself. Did I say it right? Yes. Okay, so we talked about resistance. We talked about overcoming and moving through the guilt and just noticing these stories and statements that come up and reframing them, creating affirmations, and just keep at it. Keep jumping back in, keep doing it, and keep trying it because that's how it becomes normal. It won't become normal simply by thinking about it. It won't become your way of being simply by thinking about it. And even by talking about it, we have to go through the actions. We have to experience this process to get to that other side because we can think and plan and say, oh, this is going to happen and this is how I'm going to do it and all that. But if we get to that moment and don't do it, we don't grow. We don't get to that next level simply by thinking about it. It requires action. And so to leave you, because if you're new here or if you don't yet know, I am a huge journaler and I have several ways that I incorporate that in what I share and offer with you guys, I'm going to leave you with a journal prompt that you can keep in your journal or in your planner, or just, work through at various times, maybe every time a new situation comes up. What small choices can I make today to show up as the VIP of my life? What small choices can I make today to show up as the VIP of my life? And as you start writing and as you start exploring, you will find more and more ways that you can do the small things and make the small choices to get you to those bigger steps, to those higher rungs up the ladder, instead of trying to jump all the way there right from the bottom. So, one of the ways that I have for you is a Manifesting Me with Music journaling challenge. You can join it at any time, and I do run it live 3 or 4 times a year. So the information for that will be around wherever you're watching or listening to this. And if you do identify some things and then decide to upgrade and step into the VIP experience of that, I encourage you to share that with me either around the comments of where you're listening to or watching this. You can also just hashtag manifesting me, and I will look that up. You can comment on any of my social medias or anything along those lines, and I will definitely be there to cheer you on. So that is what I have for you guys, and happy new year and happy VIP up leveling of your life. Take care, guys.